Right guys, here is my version of how to insulate your Sprinter van. I'm going to show you all the different stages. It's not necessarily a build along. I have got footage of me building it and I'll show you certain ways I've done certain things, but at the moment I've got every single part that I've used available for you to see. Now that'll make more sense now. So this is the back door. I started with sound deadening sheets that you just cut with a pair of scissors and you stick on. Some people put just one square per panel just to take the boing boing out. I decided to pretty much cover as much as possible for that sound deadening extra, because you will not get the chance to do it again. So outside of the van, sound deadening sheet. I've then, in most of the wall panels, used the Dodo fleece. The 100mm compresses in quite nicely. If you're struggling and it's popping out just a tiny bit, use some of the trim fix that comes with any kind of carpet that you buy. Now, moving on, I'm covering up 3 of the windows. They were pre-installed by Mercedes. It's great because the outside of the van all looks exactly the same, all the same material, looks absolutely fantastic. The windows were slightly tinted. They were not tinted enough. If you put something close up against, you can see it from the outside. So I tinted with as dark a tint, limo tint as possible on the inside. That is now jet black, you can't see it. I then used some of the same 7mm thermoliner to stick over the glass. Now the reason for that is I was concerned that condensation might eventually get through and sit on the glass, run down places that I'll never ever be able to see, and before you know it, your van's rotting from the outside in. With this stuck to the glass, that can't happen. It's a second vapor barrier, but because it's a thermal foam and that is stuck to it, that's going to avoid any future problems. It's then followed by a sheet of 50mm Dodo fleece. I've just covered that up. There's me saying you can see it all. I will cut to that now. Boom, there it is. To get that to stay put, again, I use the trim fix, the upholstery spray. You rip it to shape with your hands the best you can, and then fill in any spots that are missing just with whatever's left. And as you're doing it, if your van's got all of these holes, nooks and crannies and things like that, it seems to be that no matter how much you put in there, you can always stuff more in. So don't throw any away. Like I say, it just doesn't ever seem to end. So never throw bits away, because, oh, that's a big bit. I don't know if I'll get that in there. There we go. Just keeps going and going and going. Right, so on the windows we have the thermoliner foam, followed by the Dodo fleece, and then in a single panel like that one there, this stuff's great because it sticks as you go, so it's really manageable on your own. I managed to get, so the insulation from the roof, from the ceiling, comes down right to there into one piece, and then I've joined along in one piece right there, because that's all going to be blocked up, and it stops here. That's going to be ply lined. Now this window, because it is exposed, I am going to, these were stuffed with Dodo fleece and I've just covered them up with a bit of tape. Here, I'm going to upholster this with some black carpet, and then whatever's left, I'll continue and put a piece of insulation and tape that up. But that is going to be exposed, as is this window and that window. So that's pretty much it. So that's what I've decided to go for. The silent coat sound deadening pieces. You know, they come in a big section. You cut down with scissors. So you cut them down with scissors. I ordered 120 pieces for that. I've then put 100mm in the deeper part of the van, the lower half, 50mm to cover up the windows, 100mm in the rest, and Celotex in the ceiling. I've decided to use the Dodo fleece, the thermo fleece, bit like camper converters use. Upon using it, it's really good. You use your hands to tear it. Very simple. What I do is I tend to do it slightly bigger, and then the fleece actually goes into all of the gaps. So when you look at an aperture like this, you think of it as being this size, but in fact your hand can go in there, your hand can go down there and up there. So if you cut it oversized, what's great is you stuff it into all of the areas, and it actually goes into the next aperture, and then I'll put a piece in here and so on and so forth, and you know that everything is being insulated. So I'll just take this one out, for example. This is the size of the aperture, but in fact you can put your hand right in on this occasion, right back to there, and my wool or fleece actually goes right back into there. So this product, you wouldn't be able to do that with a foam board such as Celotex or Kingspan. So I'm really chuffed that I went down the road of using the fleece for those areas. I'll get a bit more done and I'll keep you up to date. It's a cold day today, so I've got this heater on. It makes the sheets a lot more malleable, a lot more flexible, and very sticky. It's sticky stuff anyway, but I mean it goes like tar. What I would say about the arches is there's no, well, not that I know of, no amazing way of getting all the contours correct. So what I did is I started from the hump on each, come across there as good as possible, and then overlap that at the top with one big piece. Now what I would say is, when it comes to doing things like these arches, unless they're being exposed, I would say pick your battles. So that's overlapped 3 or 4 times. I like the fact that that's overlapped 3 or 4 times, because that's where the wheels are, and that's where you get a lot of the road noise. So I don't mind how many times they're covered. The Reflectix here is going to, this is what's under the floor. That's going to then come up. That's why I've left it a bit longer than it needs to be, and then be sealed in with more Reflectix. And this is actually going to be totally concealed. I'll then put some probably insulation in the arch box. So this isn't going to be the prettiest job in the world. Just get it covered any way you can. Use a heater, because when you introduce the roller, it's really soft, and you can get it right into all of the funny angles. It makes life a lot easier. So I've taken the headlining down. I'm not going to go into detail how to do that. There's better videos out there solely on how to take a headlining down. I know that because that's how I've just taken mine down. I've put some thermoliner in these corner sections here. Mercedes do put some like sound deadening pieces in. I've just used the rest of what I had. I've used now 120 sheets. I've used all of it. I've done the side door. My side door has an electric motor, which means most of it's actually taken up by a motor and wires and things like that. So use the sound deadening, and now I'm going to go straight over the top with the thermoliner. It's pretty awkward. I would suggest getting a friend to help, but I haven't got any friends, so you'll watch me struggle on my own. So here it is, lads. Just looks like a massive space blanket. Now, I actually did 2 coats of the thermoliner because I had to buy a big roll of it, and there's quite a big void between the headlining and the outside panel of the van, so you can get away with doing two coats, and I had so much left over, so I just went ahead and did that. My only advice is probably avoid contacting these terminals, just in case it shorts something out, because it is obviously a kind of a metallic material, I guess. Could be talking nonsense, but I avoided it. So there it is.